Thank
Okay,
you.
Amanda, over to you.
Thank you. My name's Amanda and I'm a compulsive overeater, and very grateful to be here this morning, and happy to say that I woke up abstinent this morning, and yeah, so it's a gift to be here this morning. My abstinence date is the 4th of May 2021, and I've lost almost 5 stone since I came back in to the programme, because this is not my first time in OA. And I'd like to start off by reading something from the big book, from More About Alcoholism. So, most of us are being unwilling to admit we were real alcoholics and so compulsive overeaters. No person likes to think he is bodily and mentally different from his fellows. Therefore, it's not surprising that our drinking careers have been characterised by countless vain attempts to prove we could drink, eat like other people. The idea that somehow, someday, he will control and enjoy his drinking, eating, is the great obsession of every abnormal drinker, eater. The persistence of this illusion is astonishing. Many pursue it into the gates of insanity or death. We learned that we had to fully concede to our innermost selves that we were alcoholics, compulsive overeaters. This is the first step in recovery. The delusion that we are like other people, or presently maybe, has to be smashed. And yeah, I read that because yeah, that was me. I came into OA for the first time in November 2012, and yeah, I got abstinent straight away from my first meeting, and I went through the steps, and for me, sugar had been my main compulsion, my main binge food since the age of 5. So it was easy for me to recognize that and put that down straight away. And I had quite a quick weight loss, and everything in my life came back to me. Everything that I'd always dreamed of having came. I was in OA for 4 years, and I I really, really thought that I had it. I really thought that that I had all the knowledge that I needed, and with that came complacency. I became a normal dress size. Um, I found a partner. All the things that I'd always dreamt of, I got back in my life because of OA, and my life got really busy. And if anybody can identify with, suddenly you get everything back in your life, your life gets really busy, all the good things come back in. And what started to change for me was that uh, OA didn't come first, my recovery didn't come first, everything else came first. And I started to notice that I would start changing things in my meals. And bit by bit, this insidious illness crept in again. And I remember coming back from a holiday and not going to my meeting that I would usually go to. And then 2 weeks missing the meeting came to 3 weeks missing the meeting, when I was not going to meetings at all. And it was the Christmas of that year that I went into a full relapse. And it was absolute torture. And I used to go to the Monday night OA Elton meeting, and I remember having so much guilt and shame going back into that meeting and saying I've relapsed again. And then I would start again and work with a sponsor, and go back in a couple of months later and say I've relapsed again. And I used to think people judged me. I used to think that people were thinking, oh no, can't she not just get it together? You know, she keeps saying she's relapsing, and if she really wanted this, she'd be doing it. And for me, I'm grateful that I kept coming back, and that people kept in touch with me, because if they hadn't, I'd probably be dead now. And the you know, it says in this reading here, you know, that we had to fully concede to our innermost selves that we were compulsive overeaters. And that's the first step in recovery. And what happened to me is I hadn't fully conceded to my innermost self that I was a compulsive overeater. I hadn't accepted it. And I disappeared during lockdown from OA completely. And it was the January of 2021 that my insanity really took over. I started a diet. And the whole of the time I've been in and out of OA, I hadn't been on a diet. I mean, diets were something I did for years. When I was younger, I was very good at going on diets and achieving my goal weight, and then it'd all come back on again. I could never understand why, it was because I was a compulsive overeater. Once I put that food in my body, it started a reaction, and I couldn't stop. And there was nothing that would stop me once that food was inside me. And I knew in my head that this diet was wrong. It was completely ridiculous. It was really low calorie. I lost some weight on it, and decided this was my answer for the time being. And then what happened is I was unable to control my eating. Once that diet sort of came to a certain point, I decided it'd be okay for me to have a piece of birthday cake, my mum's birthday cake. And then what happened was I spent the whole night in the kitchen eating the rest of the birthday cake that was left, because my compulsion kicked in. And the whole time that I was trying to control my food was absolute torture. When I was trying to go on this ridiculous diet, and I was just completely white knuckling the whole thing. And it all came to a head. A friend of mine from the Alton meeting kept in touch with me all through this sort of period that I wasn't around, and kept saying, "Oh, there's a really nice online meeting. You must come to it." And I kept thinking, "Oh, maybe I will. Maybe I'll go to that meeting." And all came to a head at the end of April 2021, when this diet just wasn't working anymore. The white knuckling wasn't working anymore, and I just went into complete free fall with my compulsive overeating, and I just ended up binging for 10 days, and I put on almost a stone in that time. And I just lost myself in that time, in that binge. I just lost myself, and it was very, very painful. And I'm really grateful for it now as a gift desperation, because it got me back into OA. And I went to this meeting and I heard recovery, and I realized that I am a compulsive overeater. I do need to be in OA. Just because I came here before and lost weight and had some abstinence, it didn't mean that I was cured. And the realization that I was a compulsive overeater, was really powerful, because I knew that if I wanted to save my life, I had to stay here. I had to find a sponsor. I had to work the steps, and I had to do all the things that I'd not done in the few years before. And I was really grateful, because at my first meeting, I heard someone share, and I thought, I really identify with that person. If they're available to sponsor, I'm going to ask them to sponsor me. And then in the chat, they put they're available to sponsor. So I was like, oh, thank you, God. And I phoned that person, and there's a few certain things she asked me to do. And anyway, she ended up sponsoring me. She still sponsors me today, thank goodness. And I had to start from scratch. I'm in another fellowship, and I've been in that fellowship a long time, but my sponsor told me I had to treat myself as a newcomer, in OA. I had to treat myself as starting from scratch. And for me, with the pride and ego that I had, that was quite difficult, but I did it. And I also identified that I only had one binge food when I first came into OA. I've got 5 now on my list, and I realized that all the time I was out, I was actually still eating my binge foods, and I didn't realize it. And so by coming back and working through, and one of my things my sponsor got me to do was to write out my binges. And when we went through all of our, going through step one, every week she'd say, right, can you write out those binges? I haven't got any more binges. I don't think I've got any more binges that I could write out. And it was just getting really honest with how my life was and how my eating was, that I was able to accept everything and get some recovery. And she took me through the 12 steps, and I'm really grateful for that today. And I know I've only got 5 minutes, so what I want to share is actually how coming back in, working through the steps, sponsoring people actually changed my life, and has given me the abstinence and the serenity and the hope that I have for the future today. So I came back in. I released some weight. I found my higher power, something that before I think I had a sense of a higher power, but I was not connected to my higher power. I trust in my higher power. Higher power walks and holds my hand today, which is an amazing thing. This morning I woke up and I did my step 1, 2, and 3 prayer, my step 7 prayer. I did my 20-minute meditation, and I wrote out my food plan and my action plan. And I got back on my horse again, which was something that I really, really wanted to do. It's been an amazing journey for me, riding my horse, being fit enough to ride a horse and handle a horse. Just been an amazing part of my recovery. Another big part of my recovery is that my partner's children came to live with us when I became abstinent, and I have had the gift of becoming a mother in recovery, and I couldn't have been able to do that when I wasn't abstinent. And it's been tough, because children are tough. I've got a 14-year-old now, a nearly 12-year-old, and it is tough. And I have to work my step 10s, and I have to pray many times a day for to not jump in with them. And the other amazing thing that happened to me is I got married in the summer, and I was able to go and buy a normal size wedding dress. I was able to be present. I was able to marry my partner, and it was just an amazing day. I had all my friends and family there, and it was just something I would have never dreamt of happening to me. I never thought I'd get married. I never thought anybody would want to marry me. And it was just a day full of love and recovery and hope. And I'm so grateful that I came back to OA when I did, and that I learned that I'm a compulsive overeater, and I accepted it. That's the amazing thing. And to sort of, bring it all up to date, things go on in recovery, other things show themselves. And my sponsor advocates doing a yearly step 4, and I'm doing an interim one now on my finances. And it's something that I've sort of hidden for years and not wanted to look at in my recovery. And I'm having to I'm going through my finances now. I'm on my step 9s, and there's things that I was really frightened of looking at and dealing with that I've been dealing with, and I'm still going through it. But it's the courage to change, isn't it? That we get in recovery. And it's been so far a wonderful recovery back in OA for me. And it's given me a life that I would never have dreamt I would have had. And this morning I've woken up, and my girls are asleep. They'll be up. When I finish this meeting, they'll be up, and a few things we've got to do for the day. We've got horse riding, we've got to get the girls out to friends. I mean, the years before, before I was in recovery, I would have been on my own, sitting in my lounge, eating my binge foods, and it's not like that today. And it's because of this program, and it's because of you know um, my acceptance and my connection to my higher power as well. That I don't take any of this for granted. I don't take for granted today that I went to the doctor recently and had blood tests and I was healthy and everything was good. And I don't take anything like that for granted anymore. I'm just so grateful that I found our way. And it says in the welcome in the invitation to welcome to OA, welcome home. And whenever I come to an OA meeting, I know I'm at home. I know I'm amongst people that understand this illness and understand what it does to people, but also understand that there's a solution and that we can have a great life um, if we're willing to do the work and willing to accept our illness and pass it on to others. So I'm really, really grateful to be here this morning. Grateful to see everybody, and I'll leave it there. Thank you.